to forgive me. I am remorseful. I recognize that I caused her a lot of pain, even though I wasn't hanging out with Ariana off camera. I was hanging out with Tom in group settings, so it did seem like I was her friend, but I was really just hanging out with Tom rather than her. We never hung out one-on-one off camera. Wow.
Why would you add that in? That's
Mhm.
what's like sometimes, and not even just sometimes, I really just want her to be quiet because she adds in things or says things. It's like, ma'am, does not make it better for you. It just doesn't. It doesn't make it better for you. I don't care how you spin it or how you say it. This does not negate anything else.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, the more she talks, the more I'm like, I'm annoyed with you, ma'am. I don't feel sorry for you anymore. Stop. Stop talking.
I can't. We're gonna get to part 2, but it's just like that. Okay, you're saying we weren't best friends, but we were friends,
Yeah.
and we didn't really like hang out like one on one. I mostly just like hung out with her when I was like hanging around with Tom. Like she was around, right? Obviously, right? Because that was his girlfriend.
Because
So
that's
what
her
were
man.
you?
You
Wait,
were not supposed to be there like that.
what?
Like, you're, girl, what? Stop.
Stop. Wait.
But my thing is like, I get everybody has their definition of a friend and who they consider a friend. But I feel like there are some just basic qualities. It's just being a good human, that you should fucking have as a good person. Like, you know that they're together. You know that they've been together. You know this. You know that this girl considers you a friend, even if y'all are not best friends, even if you're not as close to her as she thinks that you guys are. You know,
Right.
she thinks that y'all are friends. That in itself, it's like, maybe I shouldn't do this if you were a good person and not a fucking sociopath.
I don't think so. So then she says she goes on to say she thought she was killing it on Watch What Happens Live, and then she gets a text from Ariana, and Ariana saying, "You're dead to me," and then all hell breaks loose, right? And then, yeah, and then we get to, is this the Sheena assault?
It's probably my favorite part. And I know it's not
Okay,
funny, but
no,
it's
you're
probably
gonna
my
read it
favorite
this time.
part.
You're gonna read it this time because I'm on part 3. I need part
Do I
2.
have it pulled back up? Hold on. Because I think like that was my favorite part. Nope.
Do do.
Where is it? Okay. I'm not gonna do the voice, even though yours was really lovely. Like, I know I could get close to it, but I definitely would want to. But my goodness. So now let's get into the assault. As you know, they had to film. If you don't know the backstory, if you didn't watch the reunion, they had to film separately. Sheena and Rachel couldn't be on the stage at the same time because Rachel had
100
a
feet.
restraining order against Sheena. But at the time, we didn't know why they had a restraining order. But now we're going to talk about what prompted this restraining order. So, of course, this is Rachel's perspective. Okay. This is Rachel speak. Sheena did physically assault me that night, and I have a permanent scar on my eyebrow. At the moment, I thought I deserved it. That's why I just stood there and let it happen. She pushed me as hard as she could against a brick wall. The back of my head hit the wall pretty hard, and then she socked me in the eye, and I was in shock. She threw my phone in the street and then called Ariana from her phone. And I immediately ran to my phone, and it was a brand new iPhone. So I was like, oh no, is it cracked? Which, girl. So let me pick it back up. But it was fine. I called Tom immediately and I was like, Sheena just punched me in the face. And he was like, oh, I know. I heard her say to Ariana, which clearly that in itself, like, person you're having an affair with, it's like, oh yeah, I already know that you got hit in the face. I'm sitting with my girl here. I already knew that. Anyway, we'll get back into it. And he was like, oh, I know. I heard her say to Ariana, I just punched that bitch in her face and threw her phone in the street. So it's just nuts that everybody that she doubled down on this narrative that I'm a liar and a cheat and that I completely fabricated this assault for whatever reason. I don't think that filing a restraining order was out of question because she was making this like punch emoji on a post that she made with Ariana saying like I always got your back. And I didn't feel safe. So it's just unfortunate that I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me how I can be assaulted and then still have so much here's the word again, vitriol. And I think, and then of course, Bethenny stops her and says, and still be the villain, Rachel. Yes.
Oh, child.
So we'll just pause on that part because the thing with this is okay, we'll call it assault. Let's just say Sheena did all of this and it is what it is. You weren't concerned about being hit, being assaulted, being in this fight. You were concerned with your phone because it's a brand new iPhone.
Right.
That was your concern. That was where this moment was like, oh no, this just took a left turn. I definitely have to file a restraining order now because my phone has been harmed. Like, stop it.
I mean, it wasn't
Stop.
the emoji. Are you sure?
Like, and why? I mean, so after that, I guess you felt the punching emoji was a threat for like more to come, more assaults to come or to
Right.
follow.
Right.
So I need to make sure I get this restraining order. It's like, girl, stop. Cut it out. Cut it out.
So then why would you bring the piece of paper and say that you wanted to drop it?
Yeah. If it wasn't that, or if it wasn't as
permanent
extreme as you
scar.
made it. Because now you have a permanent scar on your eyebrow, which I mean, let's not take that away from her. That's what she said.
Right.
She has to deal with that now because her head was pushed extremely hard into a brick wall. But this, like, I guess why would you drop it then if it's not as serious as you're making it out to be?
Right?
Because I mean, I feel like if you're gonna file a restraining order, you should stand on it, unless you know it's some bullshit.
Right.
That's my own personal take on that part. It's still my favorite part because it's like I just feel like for her the most gut wrenching part was her phone being thrown into the street for her.
Right.
And needing to call Tom immediately and him saying, "Oh, I already know because I'm sitting here with Ariana anyway." Like, you're an idiot, sis. Like, you're an idiot.
We do have to touch on the next part because I think she's giving a lot of smoke to other people,
Mm-hmm.
and it really needs to be directed at Tom Sandoval.
So you're saying Rachel, I guess basically us blaming everybody and their mama involved in production and the cast for profiting off of her and not being mad at Tom?
No, I'm talking about the next part in part 2 where Bethenny asked, how did Rachel feel about someone she thought she was in love with, recorded her FaceTiming, and that it ends up, that someone on the show saw it.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
And do you want to read that part?
No, you can take that part.
So she essentially just says she felt betrayed and that she couldn't trust anyone and that her privacy didn't matter to him. And then she said he didn't really give a good excuse besides he wanted me to see it later on to see how beautiful I was. But if he would have asked me for permission, I would have said no. When Tom and I were filming at my apartment after filming got picked up, so after the affair came to light, I said to Tom, "How could I trust you? You filmed me without my consent." He admitted to it, but then after that scene wrapped, he said, "Why did you say that? Why did you say that on camera? You made me look bad." And I was like, "Well, because that's what happened." Like, and like, Ooh. And he ended up boycotting filming the rest of Scandival so that he could have editing rights to that scene to take out that specific. And then Bethenny said, he said, I'm not filming unless you take that out. And Rachel said, yes. And Bethenny said, I've seen that happen before. So I don't know if that part is true, right? I don't know if he did get like the editing right.
I have to go back and like look.
And it's not on the episode.
Oh, well, then he did, because he was also
He did have that tantrum after he wanted to film something again, and we kept thinking it was a kiss.
Yep.
So so that happens, and Bethenny talks about the Bethenny clause and how businesses that are showcased on reality shows, the cast members have to kick up to the networks a percentage. So I assume that Bravo profits off of his bars. So Tom is a partner at the bars. So he profits off of this. And she said yes. And then Bethenny asked Rachel if Tom was a producer. She said he's not technically a producer. He's been on the series from day one. And then they're more sounding, she's going with the exploitation. Lisa's profiting off of it. Tom's profiting off of it. Let's see. Then she gets upset about Kristen coming back on reality TV, which I felt like she was really such a mess, such chaos on TV. But when she was fired from Vanderpump Rules, it was valid reasons. She's not coming back to Vanderpump Rules. She is getting her own show. I don't know if I'm going to watch it, but I don't think that the two equate, Rachel. They don't equate, and you didn't get fired, boo. You quit.
Not the same.
Not the same. Not the same. And then she said the show was failing before Scandival. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think it was doing great.
Well, I mean, it was during the I don't know, filming COVID time and all kind of extra shit.
It was even after that. It was literally kind of a boring season.
Let me put that in there, and then also with losing the people that we lost from the show too. I hate to give them any type of shine like that, but I mean, honestly, I miss Jackson, Brittany, and the chaos, and the Kristen and Nastasi, and I missed it. Of course, everything that they did to, of course, get fired. Don't agree with that, but
right.
They were a part of the show that brought, even if you have a love-hate relationship, you cannot deny that they were a part of those ratings.
You know what's crazy
to that shit? Can't.
You really can't. But what's crazy is Rachel also fails to realize that the Scandival wasn't supposed to be the primary story of the season. It was supposed to be the divorce of Katie and Tom.
Which and Sheena's wedding definitely took a fucking step, a backseat.
Right. And the feud between Sheena and Katie. That's what the season was supposed to be about. And that the season was not your affair on camera because y'all hid it. It's just we found out about your affair and we're looking for golden eggs.
Yep.
Easter eggs. So get out of here. So then she says, okay, so then in closing, the final one, the final one, and we're doing this, you guys, so you don't have to listen to two very annoying voices. Moron. Okay, so Bethenny talks about a pill bottle being thrown at the reunion and that being made light of, really going for the angle of, abusing, the cast members. First of all, that was Tom Schwartz that threw that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are they going to do about it?
Right.
Bethenny said that she read somewhere that Andy said he thought that Rachel was medicated on prescription drugs during the reunion. How does that make Rachel feel? I mean, I am medicated. I've been on antidepressants for several years now, and it makes sense looking back, probably around the time I started filming Vanderpump Rules. But to say that I must have been heavily medicated because of my behavior, was erratic, or I didn't have emotions is not okay. In my eyes, I feel like that violates some sort of HIPAA law. And to make assumptions like that, it's damaging to